That reminds me, Mr. Ulysses said. You can do me a favor, Mr. Ulysses, with some of your literary friends. I have a letter here for the press. Sit down a moment. I have just a copy in the end. He went to the desk near the window, pulled in his chair twice and read off some words from the sheet on the drum of his typewriter. Sit down. Excuse me, he said over his shoulder, the dictates of common sense. Just a moment. He peered from under his shaggy brows at the manuscript by his elbow and, muttering, began to prod the stiff buttons of the keyboard slowly, sometimes blowing as he screwed up the drum to erase an error. Stephen seated himself noiselessly before the princely presence. Framed around the walls, images of vanished horses stood in homage, their meek heads poised in air. Lord Hastings' repulse, the Duke of Westminster's chauffeur, the Duke of Beaufort's Salon, Prix de Paris, 1866. Elfin riders sat them, watchful of his sign. He saw their speeds, back in king's colors, and chatted with the shouts of vanished crowds. Full stop, Mr. Ulysses bade his keys. But prompt ventilation of this all-important question. Where Cranley led me to get rich quick, hunting his winners among the mud-splashed breaks, amid the balls at bookies on their pitches and ragged the canteen, over the motley slush. Fair rebel. Fair rebel. Even money the favorite, 10-1 the field. Dissers and thimble-riggers we hurried by after the hooves, the vine caps and jackets, and past the Memphis woman, a butcher's dame, nuzzling thirstily her clove of orange. Shouts rang shrill from the boys' play field in a whirring whistle. Again, the goal. I am among them, among their battling bodies, and amidly, the joust of life. You mean that knock-kneed mother's darling who seems to be slightly cross? Joust. Time shock rebounds, shock by shock. Jousts, slush and uproar battles, the frozen death spew of the slain, a shout of spurs pucks baited with men's bloody guts. Now then, Mr. Ulysses said, rising. He came to the table, pinning together his sheets. Stephen stood up. I have put the matter into a nutshell, Mr. Ulysses said. It's about the foot and mouth disease. Just look through it. There can be no two opinions on the matter. May I trespass on your valuable space? That doctrine of laissez-faire which so often in our history, our cattle trade, the way of all our old industries. Liverpool ring which justified the Galway Harbour scheme. European conflagration. Grain supplies through the narrow waters channel. The pluperfect imperturbability of the Department of Agriculture. Pardon the classical allusion. Cassandra. By a woman who was no better than she should be. To come to the point of issue. I don't mince words, do I? Mr. Ulysses asked as Stephen read on. Foot and mouth disease. Known as Koch's preparation. Serum and virus. Percentage of salted horses. Rinderpest. Emperor's horses at Mersteg, Lower Austria. Veterinary surgeons. Mr. Henry Blackwood Price. Courteous offer of fair trial. Dictates of common sense. All-important question. In every sense of the word, take the bull by the horns. Thanking you for the hospitality of your columns. I want them to be printed and read, Mr. Ulysses said. You will see at the next outbreak they will put an embargo on Irish cattle. And it can be cured. It is cured. My cousin, Blackwood Price, writes to me it is regularly treated and cured in Austria by cattle doctors there. They offered to come over here. I am trying to work up influence with the department. Now I am going to try publicity. I am surrounded by difficulties, by intrigues, by backstares, influenced by. He raised his forefinger and beat the air boldly before his voice spoke. Mark my words, Mr. Ulysses, he said. England is in the hands of the Jews. In all the highest places, her finance, her press, and they are the signs of a nation's decay. Wherever they gather, they eat up the nation's vital strength. I have seen it coming these years. As sure as we are standing here, the Jew merchants are already at their work of destruction. Old England is dying. He stepped swiftly off, his eyes coming to blue life as they passed a broad sunbeam. He faced about and back again. Dying, he said again, if not dead by now. The harlots cry from street to street. Shall we vote England's winning sheep? His eyes opened wide and vision stared sternly across the sunbeam in which he halted. A merchant, Stephen said, is one who buys cheap and sells dear, Jew or Gentile, is he not? They sinned against the light, Mr. Ulysses said gravely. And you can see the darkness in their eyes. And that is why there wanders on the earth to this day. On the steps of the Paris Stock Exchange, the gold-skinned men quoting prices on their gimp fingers. Gable of geese, they swarmed loud, uncouth about the temple, their heads thick plodding under maladroit silk hats. Not theirs, these clothes, this speech, these gestures. Their full slow eyes belied the words, the gestures eager and unoffending, but knew the rank hours massed about them and knew their zeal was vain. Vain patience to heap and hoard. Time surely would scatter all. A hoard heaped by the roadside, plundered and passing on. Their eyes knew their years of wandering and, patient, knew the dishonors of their flesh. Who has not? Stephen said. What do you mean? Mr. Ulysses asked. He came forward a pace and stood by the table. His under jaw fell sideways open uncertainly. Is this old wisdom? He waits to hear from me. History, Stephen said, is a nightmare from which I am trying to awake. From the playfield the boys raised a shout. A whirring whistle, goal. What if that nightmare gave you a back kick? The ways of the crater are not our ways, Mr. Ulysses said. All human history moves towards one great goal, the manifestation of God. Stephen jerked his thumb towards the window, saying, that is God. Hooray. A. WHRRWHE. What? Mr. Ulysses asked. A shout in the street, Stephen answered, shrugging his shoulders. Mr. Ulysses looked down and held for a while the wings of his nose tweaked between his fingers. Looking up again he set them free. I am happier than you are, he said. We have committed many errors and many sins. A woman brought sin into the world. For a woman who was no better than she should be, Helen, the runaway wife of Menelaus, 10 years the Greeks made war on Troy. A faithless wife first brought the strangers to our shore here, Macmorro's wife and her layman, O'Rourke, Prince of Breffni. A woman too brought Parnello. Many errors, many failures, but not the one sin. I am a struggler now at the end of my days. But I will fight for the right till the end. For Ulster will fight. And Ulster will be right. Stephen raised the sheets in his hand. Well, sir, he began. I foresee, Mr. Ulysses said, that you will not remain here very long at this work. You were not born to be a teacher, I think. Perhaps I am wrong. A learner rather, Stephen said. And here are what we learn more. Mr. Deasy shook his head. Who knows? He said. To learn one must be humble. But life is the great teacher. Stephen rustled the sheets again. As regards these, he began. Yes, Mr. Deasy said. You have 2 copies there. If you can have them published at once. Telegraph. Irish Homestead. I will try, Stephen said, and let you know tomorrow. I know 2 editors slightly. That will do, Mr. Deasy said briskly. I wrote last night to Mr. Field, MP. There is a meeting of the Cattle Traders Association today at the City Arms Hotel. I asked him to lay my letter before the meeting. You see if you can get it into your 2 papers. What are they? The Evening Telegraph. That will do, Mr. Deasy said. There's no time to lose. Now I have to answer that letter from my cousin. Good morning, sir, Stephen said, putting the sheets in his pocket. Thank you. Not at all, Mr. Deasy said as he searched the papers on his desk. I like to break a lance with you, old as I am. Good morning, sir, Stephen said again, bowing to his bent back. He went out by the open porch and down the gravel path under the trees, hearing the cries of voices and the cracked sticks from the playfield. The lions couchant on the pillars as he passed out through the gate, toothless terrors. Still I will help him in his fight. Mulligan will dub me a new name, the bullock befriending bard. Mr. Daedalus. Running after me. No more letters, I hope. Just one moment. Yes, sir, Stephen said, turning back at the gate. Mr. Deasy halted, breathing hard and swallowing his breath. I just wanted to say, he said. Ireland, they say, has the honor of being the only country which never persecuted the Jews. Do you know that? No. And do you know why? He frowned sternly on the bright air. Why, sir? Stephen asked, beginning to smile. Because she never let them in, Mr. Deasy said solemnly. A cough ball of laughter leapt from his throat, dragging after it a rattling chain of phlegm. He turned back quickly, coughing, laughing, his lifted arms waving to the air. She never let them in, he cried again through his laughter as he stamped on gaitered feet over the gravel of the path. That's why. On his wise shoulders through the chequerwork of leaves the sun flung spangles, dancing coins. Ineluctable modality of the visible, at least that if no more, thought through my eyes. Signatures of all things I am here to read, sea-spawn and shore-act, the nearing tide, that rusty boot. Snow green, blue as silver, rust, colored signs. Limits of the daffodil. But he adds, and bodies. Then he was aware of them bodies before them colored. How? By knocking his squints against them, sure. Go easy. Bald he was in a millionaire, maestro dye-colored Chasano. Limit of the daffodil man. Wine. Daffodil, a daffodil. If you can put your 5 fingers through it is a gate, if not a door. Shut your eyes and see. Stephen closed his eyes to hear his boots crush crackling rack and shells. You are walking through it howsoever. I am, a stride at a time. A very short space of time through very short times of space. 5, 6, the Nashianander. Exactly, and that is the ineluctable modality of the audible. Open your eyes. No. Jesus, If I fell over a cliff, the beetles over his base fell through the nub and I'd enter ineluctably. I am getting on nicely in the dark. My ash sword hangs at my side. Tap with it, they do. My 2 feet in his boots are at the ends of his legs, nub and antler. Sound solid, made by the mallet of lost demiurgos. Am I walking into eternity along sandy Mount Strand? Crush, crack, crick, crick. Wild sea money. Dominate these seconds and won't you come to Sandy Mount, Madeline the Mare? Rhythm begins, you see. I hear a Cadillac tetrameter of arms marching. No, gallop, Delaney the Mare. Open your eyes now. I will. One moment. Has all vanished since? If I open it, am forever in the black daffin. Basta. I will see if I can see. See now. There all the time without you, and ever shall be, world without end. They came down the steps from Leahy's terrace prudently, following Zimmer, and down the shelving showerful of Billy, their splayed feet sinking in the silted sand. Like me, like algae, coming down to our mighty mother. Number 1 swung lordily her midwife's bag, the others a gam poked in the beach. From the Liberties, out for the day. Mrs. Florence McCabe, relic of the late Pat McCabe, deeply lamented, of Broad Street. One of her sisterhood lugged me squealing into life. Creation from nothing. What has she in the bag? Miss Birth with the trailing of velcard, hushed and ruddy wool. The cords of all linked back, strand ink wine and cable of all flesh. That is why mystic monks, we can be as gods. Gaze on your fellows. Hello? Kinshire. Put me on to a Denville. Olive, Alpha, not one. Spouse and helpmate of Adam Caveman, Haven, naked Eve. She had no navel. Gaze. Belly without blemish, bulging big, a buckler of top vellum, no, whitey corn, orient and immortal, standing from everlasting to everlasting. Womb of sin. Wound in sin darkness I was too, made not begotten. By them, the man with my voice and my eyes, and a ghost woman with ashes on her breath. They clasped and sundered, did the couplers will. From before the ages he willed me and now may not will me away or ever. Alexitarianist tales about him. Is that in the divine substance wherein Father and Son are consubstantial? Where's poor dear Arius to try conclusions? Warring his life long upon the transmagnifique consubstantiality. Illustrate her Aegir in the Greek water closet he breathed his last, euthanasia. With beaded mitre and with crozier, stalled upon his throne, widower of a widowed sea, with a stiff nomophryon, with clotted hinder parts. Hairs romp round him, nipping in eager airs. They're coming, waves. The white immense sea horses, champing, bright wind bridled, the steeds of Monana. I mustn't forget his letter for the press. And after. The ship, 12:30. By the way, go easy with that money like a good young imbecile. Yes, I must. His pace slackened. Here. Am I going to answer or not? My consubstantial father's voice. Did you see anything of your artist brother Stephen lately? No. Sure he's not down in Strasbourg Terrace with his Aunt Sally? Couldn't he fly a bit higher than that, eh? And tell us, Stephen, how is Uncle C? Oh, weeping God, the things I married into. The boys up in the hayloft. The drunken little cost drawer and his brother, the cornet player, highly respectable gondoliers, and squared Walter saying his father, no less. Sir. Yes, sir. No, sir. Jesus wept, and no wonder, by Christ. I pull the wheezy bell of their shuttered cottage, and wait. They take me for a dun, peer out from a coign of vantage. It's Stephen, sir. Let him in. Let Stephen in. A bolt drawn back and Walter welcomes me. We thought you were someone else. In his broad bed Uncle Richie, pilled and blanketed, extends over the hillock of his knees a sturdy forearm. Clean-chested. He has washed the upper moiety. Moro, nephew. He lays aside the lapboard whereon he drafts his bills of cost for the eyes of Master Goff and Master Shapland Tandy, filing consents and common searches in a writ deuces taken. A bog oak frame over his bald head, Wild's requiescat. The drone of his misleading whistle brings Walter back. Yes, sir. Malt for Richie and Stephen, tell mother. Where's she? Bathing Chrissy, sir. Papa's little bedful. Lump of love. No, Uncle Richie. Call me Richie. Damn your lithia water. It lowers. Wesky. Uncle Richie, really. Sit down by the law, Harry, I'll knock you down. Walter squints vainly for a chair. He has nothing to sit down on, sir. He has nowhere to put it, you mug. Bring in our Chippendale chair. Would you like a bite of something? None of your damn bloody dollars here. The rich have a rush of fried with a herring. Sure. So much the better. We have nothing in the house but backache pills. All airda. Hedrons bars of Ferrando's Aro di Sortita. The grandest number, Stephen, in the whole opera. Listen. His tuneful whistle sounds again, finely shaded, with brushes of the air, his fists big drumming on his padded knees. This wind is sweeter. Houses of decay, mine, his and all. You told the Clogos gentry you had an uncle a judge and an uncle a general in the army. Come out of them, Stephen. Beauty is not there. Nor in the stagnant bay of Marsh's library where you read the fading prophecies of Joachim Boss. For whom? The 100-headed rabble of the cathedral close. A hater of his kind ran from them to the wood of madness, his mane foaming in the moon, his eyeballs stars. Huanan, horse red. The oval equine faces, Temple, Buck Mulligan, Foxy Campbell, Lantern Jaws. A boss father, furious dean, what offense laid fire to their brains? Path. Descendant, calf, of any implies de Calvers. A garland of gray hair on his comminated head see him clambering down to the footbase descend. Clutching him on strands, bossly skied. Get down, bald pole. A choir gives back menace and echo, assisting about the altar's horns, the snorted Latin of jack priests moving burly in their albs, tonsured and oiled and gilded, fat with the fatum kidneys of wheat. And at the same instant perhaps a priest round the corner is elevating it. Drink, drink. And 2 streets off another locking it into a pikes. Drink, drink. And in Lotta Capel another taking house all to his own cheek. Drink, drink. Down, up, forward, back. Dan O'Cam thought of that, invincible doctor. A misty English morning the Empire Postesses tickled his brain. Bringing his host down and kneeling he heard twine with the second bell the first bell in the transept. He is lifting his, and, rising, Now I am lifting their two bells, he is nailing, twaddling of thong. Cousin Stephen, you will never be a saint. I love saints. You were awfully holy, weren't you? You prayed to the Blessed Virgin that you might not have a red nose. You prayed to the devil on Serpentine Avenue that the foresee widow in front might lift her clothes still more from the wet street. Oh, see, Cherdo. Sell your soul for that, do, dyed rags pinned around a squaw. More tell me, more still. On the top of the Hoth tram alone crying to the rain, naked women. Naked women. What about that, eh? What about what? What else were they invented for? Reading 2 pages apiece of 7 books every night, eh? I was young. You bowed to yourself in the mirror, stepping forward to applause earnestly, striking face. Hooray for the goddamned idiot. Hooray. No one saw, till no one. Books you were going to write with letters for titles. Have you read his F? Oh yes, but I prefer QS, but double A is wonderful. Oh yes, W remember your epiphanies written on green over leaves, deeply deep, copies to be sent if you died to all the great libraries of the world, including Alexandria. Someone was to read them there after a few thousand years, a Mahiman Vantara. Pico della Mirandola like. Ah, very like a whale. When one reads these strange pages of one long ago and one feels that one is at one with one he once. The grainy sand had gone from under his feet. His boots trod again a damp crackling mast, razor shells, squeaking pebbles, then on the unnumbered pebbles beats, wood sieved by the shipworm, lost armada. Unwholesome sand flats waited to suck his treading soles, breathing upward sewage breath, a pocket of seaweed smoldered and see a fire under a midden of man's ashes. He coasted up them, walking warily. A porter bottle stood up, strawed to its waist, in the cakey sand dough. A sentinel, isle of dreadful thirst. Broken hoops on the shore, at the land a maze of dark cunning nets. Farther away chalks crawled back doors and on the higher beach a drying glide with 2 crucified shirts. Rings in, wigwams of brown steersmen and master mariners. Human shells. He halted. I have passed the way to Aunt Sarah's. Am I not going there? Seems not. No one about. He turned northeast and crossed the firmer sand towards the pigeon house. Quive oozed a misdanced fetal position. C.S. Le Pigeon, Joseph. Patrice, home on furlough, lapped warm milk with me in the bar Mockmoon. Son of the wild goose, Kevin Egan of Paris. My father's a bird, he lapped the sweet late chow with pink young tongue. Plump Bunny's face. Lappin'? He hopes the win in the gross lots. About the nature of women he read in McKillop. But he must send me Lavati Jesus by Emilio Tagzal. Wanted to his friend. C.S. Torden, Uz Salvez. Moi, je suis socialist. Je n'ai crois pas en l'existence de Dieu. Faut pas dire à mon père. Illinois croit. Mon père, oui. Schluss. He laughs. My Latin quarter hat. God, we simply must dress the character. I want puce gloves. You were a student, weren't you? Of what in the other devil's name? Paysayan. PCN, you know, physiques, comiques et naturals. Eating your gross worth of moon civic, flesh pots of Egypt, elbowed by belching cabmen. Just say in the most natural tone, when I was in Paris. Bull Mitch, I used to. Yes, used the care punch tickets to prove an alibi if they arrested you for murder somewhere. Justice. On the night of the 17th of February 1904, the prisoner was seen by two witnesses. Other fellow did it, other me. Hat, tie, overcoat, nose. Louis, C.S. Moy. You seem to have enjoyed yourself. Proudly walking. Whom were you trying to walk like? Forget, a dispossessed. With mother's money order, 8 shillings, the banging door of the post office slammed in your face by the usher. Hunger to think. On could do minutes. Look clock. Must get. Firm. Hired dog. Shoot him to bloody bits with a bang shotgun. Bits man spattered walls all brass buttons. Bits all KHRRRRKLAK in place clackback. Not hurt. Oh, that's alright. Shake hands. See what I meant, see. Oh, that's alright. Shake a shake. Oh, that's only alright. You were going to do wonders, what? Missionary years after fiery Columbanus. Finkerin Scottis on their creepy stools and heaven spilled from their pint pots, lied late laughing, huge. Pretending to speak broken English as you dragged your valise, poured your threepence, across the slimy pier at New Haven. Comment. Rich booty you brought back. Looked at 5 tattered numbers of Pantalon blank at Culotte Rouge. A blue French telegram, curiosity to show, mother dying come home father. The Anne thinks you killed your mother. That's why she won't. Then here's a health of Mulligan's Anne. And I'll tell you the reason why. She always kept things decent in the Hannigan family. His feet marched in sudden proud rhythm over the sand furrows, along by the boulders of the south wall. He stared at them proudly, piled stone mammoth skulls. Gold light on sea, on sand, on boulders. The sun is there, the slender trees, the lemon houses. Paris Raleigh waking, crude sunlight on her lemon streets. Moist pith of farls at bread, the green wormwood, her mountain incense, court the air. Bella Omo rises from the bed of his wife's lover's wife, the kerchief housewife is astir, a saucer of acetic acid in her hand. And Rodolphe Savon and Madeleine New make their tumbled beauties, shattering with gold teeth thousands of pastry, their mouths yellowed with the pus of flan Britain. Faces of Paris men go by, their well-pleased pleasers, curled conquistadores. Noon slumbers. Kevin Egan rolls gunpowder cigarettes through fingers smeared with printer's ink, sipping his green fairy as Patrice his white. About his gobblers fork spiced beans down their gullets. Un demi-sire. A jet of coffee steam from the burnished cauldron. She serves me at his beck. Illinois Irlandaise. Hollandaise. Nam fromage. Du Irlandaise, Nis, Irlandi, Vous savez ah, oui. She thought you wanted a cheese Hollandaise. Your postprandial, do you know that word? Postprandial. There was a fellow I knew once in Barcelona, queer fellow, used to call it his postprandial. Well, slang. Around the slabbed tables the tangle of wine breaths and grumbling gorges. His breath hangs over our saucy-stained plates, the green fairy's fang thrusting between his lips. Of Ireland, the Dalcassians, of hopes, conspiracies, of Arthur Griffith now, Pimander, good shepherd of man. The yoke is his yoke fellow, our crimes our common cause. You were your father's son. I know the voice. his fustian shirt, sanguine flowered, trembles its Spanish tassels on his secrets. M. Drummond, famous journalist, Drummond, know what he called Queen Victoria. Old hag with the yellow teeth. Vile ogress with the dense jaws. Maud gone, beautiful woman, Lord Patry, M. Milroy, Felix IV, know how he died. Licentious man. The Froken, bonnet tout fair, who rubs male nakedness in the bath at Uppsala. More fair, she said, 'tis less messieurs. Not this, monsieur, I said. Most licentious custom. Bath and most private thing. I wouldn't let my brother, not even my own brother, most lascivious thing. Green eyes, I see. Fang, I feel. Lascivious people. The blue fuse burns deadly between hands and burns clear. Louis Tobalkosh reds catch fire, a flame and acrid smoke light our corner. Raw face opens under his peep of day boy's hat. How the head center got away, authentic version. Got up as a young bride, man, veil, orange blossoms, drove out the road to Malahide. Did, faith, of lost leaders, the betrayed, wild escapes. Disguises, clutched at, gone, not here. Spurned lover. I was a strapping young gossoon at that time, I tell you. I'll show you my likeness one day. I was, faith. Lover, for her love he prowled with Colonel Richard Burke, tamest of his sept, under the walls of Clerkenwell and, crouching, saw a flame of vengeance hurl them upward in the fog. Shattered glass and toppling masonry. And gay Paris he hides, eager of Paris, unsought by any save by me. Making his days stations, the dingy Printhencus, his 3 taverns, the Montmartre Belair he sleeps short nightin', Rue de la Goutte d'Or, the masson with fly-blown faces of the gone. Loveless, landless, wifeless. She is quite nice yet comfy without her outcast man, Madame and Rue Liqueur, canary and 2 buck lodgers. Peachy cheeks, zebra skirt, frisky as a young thing's, spurned and undespairing. Tell Pat you saw me, won't you? I wanted to get poor Pat a job one time. Montfils, soldier of France. I taught him to sing the boys of Kilkenny or stout roaring blades. Know that old lay. I taught Patrice that. Old Kilkenny, St. Canice, Strongbow's castle on the Nore. Goes like this. Oh, he takes me, Nappertandy, by the hand. Oh, the boy's off. Kilkenny. Weak wasting hand on mine. They have forgotten Kevin Egan, not he them. Remembering thee, Ocean. He had come near the edge of the sea and wet sand slapped his boots. The newer greeted him, harping in wild nerves, whined the while there on seeds of brightness. Here, I am not walking out to the Kishlight ship, am I? He stood suddenly, his feet beginning to sink slowly in the quaking soil. Turned back. Turning, he scanned the shore south, his feet sinking again slowly in new sockets. The cold domed room of the tower waits. Through the barbacans the shafts of light are moving ever, slowly ever as my feet are sinking, creeping duskward over the dial floor. Blue dusk, nightfall, deep blue night. In the darkness of the dome they wait, their push-head-back chairs, mirrorless valise, around a board of abandoned platters. Who to clear? He has the key. I will not sleep there when this night comes. A shut door of a silent tower, entombing their blind bodies, the panther sahib and his pointer. Call, no answer. He lifted his feet up from the sick and turned back by the mole of boulders. Take all, keep all. My soul walks with me, form of forms. So in the moon's mid-watches I pace the path above the rocks, and sable-silvered, hearing Elsinore's tempting flood. The flood is following me. I can watch it flow past from here. Get back then by the Poolbeg road to the strand there. He climbed over the sedge and eleoar weeds and sat on a stool of rock, resting his splant in the crack. A bloated carcass of a dog lay lolled on bladderwrack. Before him the gunwale of a boat, sunk in sand. Incomprehensible Lewis called Gautier's prose. These heavy sands are language tide and wind have silted here. And these, the stony heaps of dead builders, a warren of weasel rats. Cod gold there. Try it. You have some. Sands and stones. Heavy of the past. Sir Lot's toys. Mind you don't get one bang on the ear. I'm the bloody will jiggle rolls all them bloody will boulders, bones for my stepping stones. Fee-fa-fume. Eyes milty blood odd and eardman. A point, live dog, grew in the sight running across the sweep of sand. Lord, is he going to attack me? Respect his liberty. You will not be master of others or their slave. I have my stick. Sit tight. From farther away, walking shoreward across from the crested tide, figures, two. The two Maries. They have tucked it safe among the bulrushes. Peekaboo. I see you. No, the dog. He is running back to them. Who? Galleys of the Lochlanns ran here at the beach, in quest of prey, their blood-beaked prows riding low on a molten pewter surf. Dane Vikings, Turks of tomahawks glitter on their breasts when Malaysia wore the collar of gold. A school of turley-eyed whales stranded in hot noon, spouting, hobbling in the shallows. Then from the starving cage-work city a horde of jerk-eyed dwarfs, my people, with flares and knives, running, scaling, hacking in green blubber away meat. Famine, plague and slaughters. Their blood is in me, their lust my waves. I moved among them on the frozen feet, that I, a changeling, among the spluttering risen fires. I spoke to no one, none to me. The dog's bark ran towards him, stopped, ran back. Dog is my enemy. I just simply stood pale, silent, bayed about. Terribly imidence. A primrose doublet, fortune's knave, smiled on my fear. For that repining, the bark of their applause. Pretenders, live their lives. The Bruce's brother, Thomas Fitzgerald, Silken Knight, Perkin Warbeck, York's Falcyon, and breeches of Silver's ivory, wonder of the day, and Lambert Simnel, with a tail of nines and sutlers, a scullion crowned. All kings' sons. Paradise of pretenders then and now. He saved men from drowning and he shake out a cur's yelping. But the courtiers who mocked Guido and our San Michel were in their own house. House off. We don't want any of your medieval abstrusiosities. Would you do what he did? The boat would be near Luffy Buoy. Naturlik, put there for you. Would you or would you not? The man that was drowned 9 days ago off Maiden's Rock. They're waiting for him now. The truth, spit it out. I would want to. I would try. I am not a strong swimmer. Water cold soft. When I put my face in it in the basin of Clogos. Can't see. Who's behind me? Out quickly, quickly. Do you see the tide flowing quickly and on all sides, sheeting the lows of sand quickly, shell gold colored? if I had land under my feet. I want his life still to be his, mine to be mine. The drowning man. His human eyes screamed me out of horror of his death. I, with him together down. I could not save her. Waters, bitter death, lost. A woman and a man. I see her skirties. Pinned up, I bet. Their dog gambled about the bank of dwindling sand, trotting, sniffing on all sides. Looking for something lost in a past life. Suddenly he made off like a bounding hare, ears flung back, chasing the shadow of a lost skimming gull. The man's shriek whistle struck his limp ears. He turned, bounded back, came nearer, trotted on twinkling shanks. On a field tinny a buck, tripping, proper, unattired. At the lace fringe of the tide he halted with stiff forehoofs, seaward pointed ears. His snout lifted barked at the wild noise, herds of sycamores. They serpented towards his feet, curling, unfurling many crests, every ninth, breaking, plashing, from farther out, waves and waves. Cockler bookers. They waded a little way in the water and, stooping, seized their bags and, lifting them again, waded out. The dog yelped running to them, reared up and pawed them, dropping on all fours, again reared up at them with mute bearish fawning. Unheeded he kept by them as they came towards the drier sand, a ragged wolf's tongue red panting from his jaws. His speckled body ambled ahead of them, then lopped off at a calf's gallop. The carcass lay on his path. He stopped, sniffed, stalked round it, brother, nosing closer, went round it, sniffling rapidly like a dog all over the dead dog's bedraggled fell. Dog scope, dog sniff, eyes on the ground, moves the one great gulp. Ah, poor dog's body. Here lies poor dog's buddy's body. Tatters. Out of that, you mongrel. The cry brought him skulking back to his master, and the blunt bootless kick sent him unscathed across a spit of sand, crouched and flat. He slunk back in the curve. Doesn't see me. Along by the edge of the mole he lolloped, dawdled, smelt a rock, and from under a cocked hind leg pissed against it. He trotted forward and, lifting again his hind leg, pissed quick short at an unsmelt rock. The simple pleasures of the poor. His hindpaws then scattered the sand, then his forepaws dabbled and delved. Something he buried there, his grandmother. He rooted in the sand, dabbling, delving, and stopped to listen to the air, scraped up the sand again with the fury of his claws, soon ceasing, a pard, a panther, got and spouse breach, vulturing the dead. After he woke me last night, same dream, or was it? Wait. Open Holloway. Street of Harlots. Remember. Harun al-Rashid. I am almost in it. That man led me, spoke. I was not afraid. The melon he held against my face. Smiled, cream fruit smell. That was a rule, said. In. Come. Red carpet spread. You will see who. Shouldering their bags they trudged, the red Egyptians. His blood feet out of turned-up trousers slapped the clammy sand, a dull brick muffler strangling his unshaven neck. With woman's steps she followed, the ruffian and his strolling moor. Spoils slung at her back. Loose sand and shellgrit crusted her bare feet. About her wind-raw face hair trailed. Behind her lord, his helpmate, being a waist trimbill. Would not hide her body's flaws, calling under her brown shawl from the archway where dogs have mired. Her fancy mittens treating two royal Dublins in the lowlands of black pence. Buster, whopping rogues rumbling go, 4-0, my dimmer whopping dell, chefing its whiteness under her rancid rags. Fun valleys lane at night, the tawny-eared smells. White thy fambles, red thy gan, and thy quirns dainty is. Couch a hogshead with me then, in the dark man's clip and kiss. Morose delectation Aquinas tune barely calls this, freight porco spino. Unfallen Adam rode and not rutted. Call away let him, thy quirns dainty is. Language no whit worse than his. Monk words, marebeats jabber on their girdles, gourds, tough nuggets patter in their pockets. Passing now, beside I at my Hamlet hat. If I were suddenly naked here as I sit, I am not. Across the sands of all the world, followed by the sun's flaming sword, to the west, trekking to evening lands. She trudges, schleps, trains, drags, tracines her load. A tide westering, moon drawn, in her wake. Tides, myriad landed, within her, blood not mine, oh no preponderant, a wild dark sea. Behold the handmaid of the moon. And sleep the wet sun calls her hour, bids her rise. Bride bed, child bed of death, ghost candle. Omnis caro activini. He comes, pale vampire, through storm his eyes, his bat sails bloodying the sea, mouth to her mouth's kiss. Here. Put a pin in that chat, will you? My tablets. Mouth to her kiss. No. Must be two of 'em. Glue 'em well. Mouth to her mouth's kiss. His lips and mouth fleshless lips of air, mouth to her moon. All warming tomb. His mouth molded issuing breath, unspeeched, ooh-ee-ha, roar of cataractic planets, globed, blazing, roaring away. Paper. The banknotes, blast them. Old DC's letter. Here. Thanking you for the hospitality, tear the blank end off. Turning his back to the sun, he bent over far to a table of rock and scribbled words. That's twice I forgot to take slips from the library counter. His shadow lay over the rocks as he bent, ending. Why not endless till the farthest star? Darkly there behind this light, darkness shining in the brightness, delta of Cassiopeia, worlds. He sits there with his augur's rod of ash, and borrowed sandals, by day beside Ulysses, unbeheld, and violet night walking beneath the rain of uncouth stars. I throw this ended shadow from me, man-shape and ineluctable, call it back. Endless, would it be mine, form of my form? Who watches me here? Whoever anywhere will read these written words. Signs on a white field. Somewhere to someone in your flutiest voice. The good Bishop of Cloyne took the veil of the temple out of his shovel hat, veil of space with colored emblems hatched on its field. Hold hard. Colored on the flat, yes, that's right. Flat I see, then think distance, near, far, flat I see, east, back. Ah, see now. Falls back suddenly, frozen in stereoscope. Click the Z-trick. You find my words dark. Darkness is in our souls, do you not think? Fluter. Our souls, shame-wounded by our sins, cling to us yet more, a woman to her lover clinging, the more. She trusts me, her hand gentle, the long-lushed eyes. Now where the blue hell am I bringing her beyond the veil? Into the ineluctable modality of the ineluctable visuality. She. Would she? The virgin at Hodges Figg's window on Monday looking in for one of the alphabet books you were going to write. Keen glance you gave her, risked through the braided jessie of her sunshade. She lives in Leeson Park with a grief and kickshaws, a lady of letters. Talked up to someone else, Stevie, a pick-me-up. Bet she wears those cursed God-stay suspenders and yellow stockings, darned with lumpy wool. Talk about apple dumplings, putosto. Where are your wits? Touch me. Soft eyes. Soft, soft, soft hand. I am lonely here. Oh, touch me soon, now. What is that word known to all men? I am quite here alone. Sad too. Touch me. He lay back at full stretch over the sharp rocks, cramming the scribbled note and pencil into a pocket his hat down his eyes. That is Kevin Egan's movement I made, nodding for his nap, Sabbath sleep. Het videt dis. Het errant valdi bona. Allo. Bonjour. Welcome as the flowers of May. Under its leaf he watched through peacock-witching lashes the southing sun. I am caught in this burning scene. Pan's hour, the final noon. Among gum-heavy serpent plants, milk-oozing fruits, whereon the tawny water's leaves lie wide. Pain is far. And no more turn aside and brood. His gaze brooded on his borrowed boots, a buck's cast-offs, no benign antler. He counted the creases of wrecked leather where another's foot had nested warm. The foot that beat the ground in tripudium, foot I disloft. But you were delighted when Esther Oval's shoe went on you, girl I knew in Paris. Times, quail petty-pied, staunch friend, a brother's soul, wild's love that dare not speak its name. His arm, Cranley's arm. He now will leave me. And the blame. As I am. All are not at all. In long lassos from the cock lake the water flowed full, covering green and golden lagoons of sand, rising, flowing. My splendor will float away. I shall wait. No, they will pass on, passing, chafing against the low rocks, swirling, passing. Better get this job over quick. Listen, a fur-worded wave of speech, CSU, HRSS, RCIs, ooze. Vehement breath of waters amid sea snakes, rearing horses, rocks. And cups of rocks it slows, flow out, slap, bounded in barrels. And, spent, its speech ceases. It flows purling, widely flowing, floating foam and pool, flower unfurling. Under the upswelling tide he saw the writhing weeds lift languidly and sway reluctant arms, rising up their petticoats, and whispering water swaying and upturning coy silver fronds. Day by day, night by night, lifted, flooded and let fall, lowered, their weary, and, whispered to, the sigh. St. Ambrose heard it, sigh of leaves and waves, awaiting the fullness of their times, dibus acin octibus eniaris patiens and germisset. And no one gathered, vainly then released, forth flowing, winding back, the loom of the moon. Weary too in sight of lovers, restless men, a naked woman shining in her courts, she draws a toil of waters. 5 fathoms out there. Full fathom 5 thy father lies. At 1, he said. Found drowned. High water at Dublin Bar. Driving before the loose drift of rubble, thin shoals of fishes, silly shells. A corpse rising salt white from the undertow, bobbing apace a porpoise landward. There he is. Hook it quick. Pull. Sunk though he be beneath the watery floor. We have him. Easy now. bag of corpses sopping in foul brine. A quiver of minnows, fat of a spongy tippet, flashed through the slits of his button trouser fly. God becomes man, becomes fish, becomes barnacle goose, becomes feathered mountain. Dead breaths I live and breathe, tread dead dust, devour ear and so follow from all death. Hauled stark over the gunwale he breathes upward the stench of his green grave, his leprous nostrils snoring to the sun. A sea change this, brown eyes salt blue. Sea death, mildest of all deaths known to man. O Father Ocean, pretty Paris, beware of imitations. Just you give it a fair trial. We enjoyed ourselves immensely. Come. I thirst. Clouding over. No black clouds anywhere, are there? Thunderstorm. All bright he falls, proud lightning of the intellect, Lucifer, Dico, Queeness at occasion. No. My cockle hat and staff and high sandal shoon. Where? To evening lands. Evening will find itself. He took the hilt of his ishplant, lunging with it softly, dying still. Yes, evening will find itself in me, without me. All days make their end. By the way, next one is it Tuesday will be the longest day of all the glad new year, mother, the rum-tin tiddly-tum. Long Tennyson, gentleman poet. For the old hag with the yellow teeth. And Monsieur Drumont, gentleman journalist. My teeth are very bad. Why, I wonder. Feel. That one is going to. Shells. Ought I go to a dentist, I wonder, with that money? That one. This. Toothless Kinch, the Superman. Why is that, I wonder, or does it mean something perhaps? My handkerchief. He threw it. I remember. Did I not take it up? His hand groped vainly in his pockets. No, I didn't. Better buy one. He laid the dry snot picked from his nostril on a ledge of rock, carefully. For the rest let look who will. Behind. Perhaps there is someone. He turned his face over his shoulder, rear-regardant. Moving through the air high spars of a three-master, her sails brailed up on the cross trees, homing, upstream, silently moving, a silent ship,